Welcome, everybody. This is Patrick Snow, host of the Patrick and Mary Unstoppable Author Interview Series, where we interview authors, speakers, coaches, consultants from all over the world to help us get what we all want: more time, more money, more freedom, more health, more love, and more happiness in life. Today, we have an absolutely spectacular author guest. Her name is Parastoo Emami. She's author of the brand new book, hot off the press, titled Embracing Your Sensitivity. Activate your superpowers, protect your energy, and thrive in your world. To learn more about Parastoo or to pick up a copy of her book, you can visit her online at parastooemami.com, and you can see the spelling of her name, parastooemami.com. I'm going to read you her bio verbatim so that you get to know a bit about her, and then we will dive in with this exciting interview. Parastoo Emami is creating a global movement in bringing awareness and acceptance of highly sensitive people, HSPs, and highly sensitive children, HSCs. She's an author, professional keynote speaker, life coach, and is one of the leading experts in the world in high sensitive people. She's committed to transforming how the world sees highly sensitive people, and more importantly, how highly sensitive people see themselves. It took her decades to learn that she's a highly sensitive person, and another 3 years to work on herself to accept this personality trait and start to love herself and realize how amazing it is to be among the 20% of the global population with this personality trait. For example, a highly sensitive person, as one, she sees the most unique things in people that most people miss. And this aptitude has helped her become successful in her career, in her personal life, and helping her parents, friends, and families. She believes her purpose is to help highly sensitive people understand and embrace this personality trait, not as a flaw to manage, but as a meaningful part of who they are. When we start focusing on the strengths of sensitivity, it opens the doors for greater confidence, connection, and fulfillment in every area of your life. So please join me in welcoming all the way from San Francisco, California, our special guest, Parastoo Emami.
Thank you so much, Patrick. It's great to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me to be here today.
Well, I'm absolutely thrilled to be on. I absolutely love your book. It's beautiful. I hope you have a copy nearby so you can show everybody. Do you
It
have
has
one with you?
not arrived yet.
Oh,
It's
it's
still
right.
in print,
Yeah,
but
that's
it
where you go.
should be arriving this month.
Yeah, any day now. It's coming off the press.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to show a picture of the cover because it's absolutely beautiful. And I see the dolphin behind you, but this is the photo of her book. And it's absolutely beautiful, so peaceful with those dolphins, and love having the dolphin
Yeah.
right behind you there as well. So,
Thank you.
I think we've known each other for about a year now. Take us back to how we originally met. I don't remember. Somebody connected us. Let us
Yes, that's
that
right.
came together.
That's right. So I had to move out of my condo and I moved to Tiburon. And I met this lady, her name is Susie, and I was having a conversation with her. We were talking about our careers and where we want things to be, what our purpose is in life. And I was telling her, I'm thinking about writing a book because I've been doing a podcast for nearly 2 years now. And I think I could take the content from my podcast and turn it into a book. And she said, "Oh, wonderful. I have this amazing book coach that I could introduce you to." And I'm like, wow, what are the odds of this happening where, we're randomly talking about, what we want to do in our lives and what our purpose is. And she knows an amazing coach. So she gave me your number, Patrick, and I called you immediately and set up a session with you. And when I first met you on our very first meeting, I knew I wanted to work with you. I was just very happy to, be able to, as part of my sensitivity, I'm very good at detecting people's energies, even through the phone. even through a Zoom meeting. So I was able to pick up on your energy and know that, yes, this is the person I want to work with. And I was so excited. And it was during the holidays. If you remember, it was right before the Christmas holidays
Hmm.
last year. And you and I were like, so what? It's the holidays. Let's get started. We got started right away. We didn't waste any time.
So it's been about 9 or 10 months, and your book is hot off the
Yeah.
press as we speak.
Yes.
Oh, amazing. I love it. I love it.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's go back to your youth. And, some people call highly sensitive people empaths. Other call them highly sensitive, but these are people that feel other people's pain. Sometimes they walk by people and they know what they're feeling, their emotions. You feel other people's energy. So is being an empath and being a highly sensitive person, are they the same thing or are they different? And if so,
No,
kind of
they're
explain the
very
differences.
different. So, being an empath, you can be an empath and not be a highly sensitive person, but you cannot be a highly sensitive person and not be an empath because there are four components of being a highly sensitive person, and being an empath is one of the four components. So, the four components are depth of processing. That means that you take in a lot of information from the moment you get up in the morning, you start processing things at a very thorough level. You're not just picking up information from a person, for example, but you're taking information from your entire environment, whatever that entails. And because of that, you get overwhelmed very easily if you don't know how to manage your nervous system. And that's where I come in. I teach people how to balance their nervous system so that this component of high sensitivity, which is something that people see as a weakness, can then be neutralized. It won't go
Mm.
away, but at least it can be neutralized. And then the
So,
third component is empathy. And then the
mm.
fourth component is having sensitivity to external stimuli. So you have to have all four components to be a highly sensitive person, which is a personality trait that you're born with. So it's genetics. Like you cannot get rid of it no matter what you do. You will not be able to get rid of being highly sensitive.
So going back to your youth, do you remember as a young girl, being this way, feeling different in school, being overwhelmed by large crowds or,
Oh, yes.
big cities? Talk about
Yeah.
some of your earliest experiences having this personality trait, and how did you, manage it then, or maybe you didn't manage it then?
Yeah, no, so I knew I was different from the very beginning, like as young as I could remember, like even like elementary school. I remember I was very different than all the other students in the class. And I was different in that I would get so sad if somebody else in the class was sad. Or if the teacher was upset or not feeling well, I would know it before she would even say anything about it. And I would pick up on people's energies. I would pick up on their emotions. I would sense their emotions before they themselves knew what was going on with them. So I knew I was different because nobody else in the class did that. And then also, my parents would always tell me, "Oh, you're so sensitive. Oh my God, why can't you be like your brother? Why are you so sensitive? Why are you so emotional?" And so I always felt like there was something wrong with me because I was always compared to my brother, uh, who was like he's an extrovert. I'm kind of right in the middle. I'm not an introvert and I'm not an extrovert, but he's definitely on the spectrum of extrovert, like to the at the very end of the spectrum. And he would always be like making jokes and having a good time and having a fun time, whereas I, on the other hand, was constantly scanning my environment and going, oh my God, that person is really sad, or mom is really not happy right now. And I can tell dad is really stressed out. So I was just constantly scanning my environment to see what's going on with each person in my family or my friends or extended family, where my brother was like happy go lucky, just doing his own thing, really concentrating on himself, not really paying attention to whatever is going on to anyone else around him. He was very self-focused, whereas I was very much externally focused. So I knew I was different, but I thought it was a weakness. I thought it was something to be ashamed of. And I grew up feeling that way. I grew up feeling that I would always hide, like, as a highly sensitive person, you pick up a lot of information and you're able to connect the dots. It's called systems thinking, where you don't just take in the information that you're given, but you're really dissecting that information and really going deep into understanding where that information came from. And then you're able to connect the dots that most people cannot do. So you see subtleties that most people don't see, and you're able, as a result, you're able to pick up on a lot of information and connect the dots, and therefore be able to be very proactive in life instead of being reactive, because you see things before they even happen. You're able to predict things based on the patterns that you see. But I would hide that because I thought it was a flaw. I thought, oh, well, nobody else is seeing these patterns. Nobody else is recognizing these details that I'm seeing. So there must be something wrong with me. So I would not even speak up and say anything about it, and until later on in life.
When did you have your turning point in life? Like when did you like realize this is a superpower? I'm going to contain this. I'm going to leverage this. How old were you? What was going on in your life, and how did you harness that those challenges into your superpower?
Well, thanks to this amazing person. Her name is Elaine Aaron, who is the founder of High Sensitivity. She's a psychologist. She's also in the Bay Area. And I took a seminar with her in 2019. And at the time, I was really, trying to save money, and I wasn't spending, if it wasn't necessary, I wasn't spending it, because um, there was a lot of turmoil in the company that I was working for, and I wasn't sure if my job was going to be around or not. So I was very conscientious about spending money, and this seminar was expensive. At least it was, to me, it was expensive. And then so I was like debating, should I go, should I not? So I decided to go. And it turned out to be the best decision of my life, because at least one of the best decisions of my life, because the minute Dr. Elaine Aaron started talking about high sensitivity, everything that would come out of her mouth, I would be like, oh my God, that's me. Oh my God, that's me. I mean, throughout the whole 3 day seminar, all I could say is, wow, how come I didn't know this about myself sooner? And why aren't people talking about this? How come my parents, who are in the health industry, my dad is a surgeon, my mom is a midwife, why don't they know about this? How did they not know about this personality trait? Because had they known, they would have definitely treated me differently. And
Yeah.
therefore, I would have grown up to be a different person. So it was the best, like it was such an eye opener. And it was a moment in my life where I finally understood my personality trait and why I do the things that I do.
Wow, very cool. So, years go by, and then all of a sudden you get this inspiration to write the book, Embracing Your Sensitivity. What inspired you to write it, and why did you feel it was the right time to share it with the world?
So I got laid off from my job at Dolby Laboratories. And then somebody approached me. At that job, I was basically doing volunteer work and teaching people about their high sensitivity, because highly sensitive people tend to be extremely creative. And that company, as you know, they're all about entertainment, so audio and visual. So that's a lot of creativity. So there are a lot of highly sensitive people that work at that company. So I started coaching them about their high sensitivity. And when I got let go, they're like, oh my God, please consider becoming a life coach. You're so good at it. This is what your calling is. You've done such a great job with us and helping us understand our personality trait. And if it wasn't for you, we would never know about this trait. So I realized, oh, it's still a very uncommon knowledge. Like I thought Dr. Elaine Aron has been doing this since 1991. And I thought, okay, this was 2023. So I thought it's amazing that still people don't know about this personality trait. And I wasn't the only one that didn't know about it. So then when I left Dolby, someone approached me and said, "Hey, I think you would do a great job at, having a podcast. Will you consider doing a podcast on high sensitivity?" So that's how I got started with the podcast. And then I was doing coaching for parents of highly sensitive children because I thought I could make the most impact in their lives. Because if their children under the age of 10 and their parents know about their high sensitivity, then most likely they won't have, you know, they won't experience trauma in their life. Well, that's what I was hoping. And then 2 years went by and I was talking to a friend and I thought, I think I have enough information to write a book just based on the content from my podcast, because I create a script for each podcast so I could just turn those scripts into a book. And then she introduced me to you. And then when I started talking to you, you said, no, you should write a broader book, not just for parents of highly sensitive children, but for all highly sensitive children. So then, I kind of could, what are you saying?
For adults also, right?
Yes, for adults also. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, then I can't use my scripts from the podcast. I have to do this from scratch.
Yeah.
And but your process was so amazing, Patrick, that when you taught me how to write my book, I was in the flow. And it was the first time in my life where I would be in the flow from the moment I would wake up until the time that I would go to bed. And often I didn't even go to bed till like 2 or 3 in the morning because I was writing and I didn't want to stop writing. And I was like, wait, let me finish that, just this one chapter. And I remember when I met you, when we would meet on a weekly basis, I was so far along that you were like, okay, we can only cover, a certain number of chapters in this session. Because instead of writing one chapter like your typical client, I would come up with like, 4 or 5 chapters each week. And you would be like, no, no, that's way too many chapters for this week. But it was
Way
all
too many
because of
per
your
hour.
process.
Yeah. I love the title, Embracing Your Sensitivity. So can you share what you mean by that phrase? What does it mean to embrace your
Yeah.
sensitivity, and why is that so important?
It's so crucial because it's part of self-love, self-acceptance, self-compassion. If you don't embrace something that you're born with, a personality trait that you're born with, it's very hard for you to live a fulfilling life and thrive in life. Because if like I was really dimming my light. I was form fitting everywhere I went. I hid myself. I was not my authentic self. And so embracing your sensitivity is about understanding your sensitivity, accepting it, and look for the strengths in that personality trait, because it has a lot more strengths than it has weaknesses. And as I mentioned earlier, the weaknesses can definitely be neutralized. If you know the right tools to use, you can definitely manage your nervous system and keep it balanced throughout the day and every day. It just kind of becomes like a routine that you do, just like brushing your teeth is a part of your, hygiene routine. Keeping your nervous system balanced will become your routine as well, being a highly sensitive person. Actually, it really helps everyone. It's not just for highly sensitive people. Balancing your nervous system is really crucial for everybody's health and well-being.
So what are some of the biggest misconceptions about highly sensitive people?
That they're weak, that they don't know how to survive in life, much less thrive in life, that they can't be leaders because they're too weak to become leaders. Um, a lot of people don't understand that sensitivity comes with these amazing strengths. Like most highly sensitive people are also extremely intelligent people. They're very creative. They see subtleties that other people don't see. They are able to see patterns that a lot of people don't see. They can connect the dots as a result of that. And as a result of their depth of processing, they see a lot more, they're able to take in a lot more information than a non-highly sensitive person. So a lot of people concentrate on the downside of high sensitivity, which is getting emotional, being bothered by various external stimuli. So some people could be bothered by large crowds, a lot of noise. They could be bothered by bright lights. For example, for me personally, I'm actually sensitive to all five senses. So I hear things that are super far away for someone else that they don't even hear. I can hear it clearly as if it's right next to me.
Mm.
So, and all my senses are sensitive like this. But I don't see that as a negative in my life. Actually, I see it as a positive because a lot of times it helps me in life. For example, when I'm walking with a friend, I can hear a car coming from really far away, and my friend, may not be hearing that car coming. So I could tell her, "Hey, can you stay, away from this street?" Sometimes we're walking along the water, and she goes on the path of the street, and then, I can tell her, "Hey, get on the sidewalk instead of walking on the street," because I can hear the car coming, where she can't hear it at all. Um,
Yeah.
so there are a lot of benefits of being sensitive, but people only see the negative aspects of it, which is being too emotional and and being sensitive to various stimuli.
Does it affect children different than adults?
So being highly sensitive, it has the same four components as a child and as an adult. It's a genetic personality trait that you're born with. The way it's different for children versus adults is that children haven't, developed enough to be able to have the various tools to help them with their sensitivity. So they rely on their parents. That's why it's so important for parents to know, first of all, have as much information about high sensitivity as you could possibly get your hands on. And then second, once you have the knowledge, really accept your child and stop trying to change them and stop trying to compare them to other people, whether it's siblings or friends. Just accept your child the way they are, because I can guarantee you that all of my clients, when they started accepting their child, their whole family dynamic changed. Every single client came to me and said, "Thank you so much, because for the first time in our family, we have peace. And we are, as a family unit, we're really close now, and their whole dynamic changed. But it changed only because they did one thing. They accepted their child and they stopped trying to change that child. And they met the child where the child was. And in every step of their growth process, the parent met the child where that child was, instead of trying to change them and trying to make them into something that the child wasn't. And when they did that, they actually saw something that was really profound. They saw their child flourish like they never did before. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps talking about this because I experienced this with every single client. And their child just blossomed into this beautiful soul that was shining. Whereas before, all they saw was this child that would just be crying and throwing temper tantrums and having a nervous breakdown all the time. They were just having um, a lot of reactivity from their nervous system being dysregulated. But once the parents accepted the child and met the child where they were, then the child's nervous system felt safe. And then they
Mm.
were able to flourish as a result of that.
Do you have a personal story or an example of one of your clients once they've embraced their sensitivity and how that's changed their life? Can you give an example of that?
Absolutely. So just now that I mentioned, most of my clients, if not all, I would say actually all of them, now that I'm thinking about it, they see a difference in their whole family dynamic once they accept their child, and they see their child flourish. So that's the number one thing that I saw from coaching parents of highly sensitive children. Now, going to coaching adults, what happens with an adult that embraces their sensitivity and accepts it and starts being authentic is that they now really honor who they are at their core. And when they do that, they start thriving in life. Why? Because now they're loving themselves instead of seeing themselves as something that needs work, something that is broken, something that is not good enough, that's not worthy of anything in life. They go from having no self love, no self compassion, no self worth to loving themselves and being able to embracing their sensitivity and accepting it and looking for their strengths and finding their superpower so that they could start thriving in life instead of just surviving or like barely making it.
Yeah. Our guest today is Parastoo Emami. Her website is the same as her name, parastooemami.com. Her book is titled Embracing Your Sensitivity, Activating Your Superpowers, Protect Your Energy, and Thrive in Your World. So I want to ask you how shame and embarrassment play into the struggles that highly sensitive people face, and how does your book help release that?
Yeah, that's the number one thing that most highly sensitive people feel is shame. They're embarrassed, they're ashamed of their sensitivity. They're embarrassed when they cry for example, if they cry in a public place because something has really hurt their feelings. Or maybe it's even a cry from something that's really beautiful, like a piece of art, for example, or they're hearing a piece of music that's really moving to them. They feel ashamed because all of their life they've been told that they're too much, they're too sensitive, they're too emotional. Um, you know, they need to be growing a thicker skin. They're always told to be something they're not. And so they feel that there's something wrong with them. They feel that they're broken. And what my whole purpose in life is to teach them that they're not broken, that they're actually beautiful people. They have so much to offer the world, and if they started living in their authentic self, they will start shining those beautiful traits that they have, like the fact that they're so creative. They think out of the box, they're creative. They pick up subtleties that most people miss. These are all beautiful traits that they have that they overlook when they feel shame, when they don't love themselves and when they don't embrace their sensitivity, then they don't see their worth, they don't see their
Yeah.
powers. And that's what I'm trying to teach them.
Well, I love your book title and then your subtitle, and I'm going to go over the subtitle real quick, and we'll do three of them. So, activate your superpowers. How does one activate them?
First, learn through knowledge, know what high sensitivity is all about. Know yourself really well because every single person is different. Just because I'm a highly sensitive person and my brother is a highly sensitive person doesn't mean that we're both the same person. We don't have we don't embrace life the same way. We don't have the same strengths. We don't have the same weaknesses. So every highly sensitive person is unique. So you need to understand yourself really, really well, understand your sensitivity, and then embrace it. You know, try to look for all the strengths that you have, list your strengths, and then try to figure out from those strengths, what are your superpowers?
Mm. So then how does one go about protecting their energy?
Um, I have a ritual that I do every single morning, and that is to put a bubble of protection around myself. Every single morning, the first thing that I do when I wake up is count my blessings, and then I am a very religious person. I don't follow any particular religion, but I do believe in God. So I have a conversation with God every single morning and I ask him to put a bubble of protection around me so that nobody else's energy can penetrate into my energy. And so that's how I protect myself and protect my energy.
So activate superpower number one, protect your energy number two, and the result is thrive in their world. So what does that mean to thrive after they've been really, having high sensitivity challenges their whole life? How does their life change? I guess is what I'm asking.
Your life changes because the most important thing is having self-love, accepting yourself, seeing your worth, and having a high self-esteem. These things cannot exist if you don't embrace your sensitivity and if you don't accept your sensitivity. So once you are very knowledgeable about this, your particular sensitivity, once you accept it, you start developing self-love. And once you start developing self-love and you on a daily basis are working on that self-love and self-acceptance, eventually eventually that will be your reality. You'll start loving yourself and you don't have to try anymore, you know? And it just becomes a part of your being. And then from that you start having self-worth, because you can't, if you don't love yourself, there's no way you can have self-worth. You have to have that foundation of self-love in order to see your worth, and in order to also see that you're worthy just because you exist in this planet. You don't have to do anything to gain worth or earn worth. Worth is just part of what God gives you when you're born. You know, that's just in a part of your natural being on this planet, is you're worthy just because you exist. And
Yeah.
then self-esteem comes from self-love and self-worth. um, you know, you start gaining self-esteem, and once your self-esteem keeps going higher and higher, you really start thriving in life, because without self-love, self worth and self-esteem, there's no way that you can thrive in life, because those
Mhm.
are really the foundation of being able to thriving in life.
So what are some of the practical tools that your readers will walk away with after reading your book that they can implement into their life right away?
So my book is very much a holistic book, meaning that I don't just cover a part of your life. I cover entire in the entire spectrum of what you experience in life, right? Um, from knowing what high sensitivity is to, you know, learning about your attachment styles, to learning how to be in a relationship, what to look for, learning how to, you know, select the right job for your personality, with this personality trait. So it's a very much a holistic book. And I have a lot of exercises in there. I have a lot of stories that are either personal or from my clients that will help you see how other highly sensitive people have been able to transform their life from surviving to thriving.
Very good. Very good. How has your book changed you personally in
You
terms
know,
of writing the book? How do you feel?
yeah. I just, I never thought I would be an author. If you told me even, 2 years ago, oh, Parastoo, you're going to publish your book, I would be like, no, I'm not an author. Like, there's no way I can write a book. So I am extremely proud of myself for writing this book because I really never thought that I would be an author one day. And I also didn't know that I had this skill set in me. And thanks to you, Patrick, because you're such an amazing coach. And the way your coaching works is just so like, it's so simple, it made everything flow so easily. And I just thought that, I'd been writing forever and ever and ever. And it was just my first book,
Yeah.
and it was through your process that I was able to be in the flow while I was writing this book, and to be able to write for hours and not even recognize that hours have gone by. So the way that this book has changed me is, first of all, it's given me even more self-esteem than I had before. And it's made me feel very proud that I'm able to do something that I never thought I would be able to do. And that I'm able to even help more people now, because having a podcast is limiting. Still, it reaches a lot of people, it reaches thousands of people, but it doesn't reach as many people as I was hoping it would reach. So I'm really hoping that I can help even more people with this book, and to transform their lives and help them thrive in their life and live their best life.
So, what do you think and see as the future of awareness around sensitivity? Do you think society is moving towards greater understanding and acceptance, or still have a blind eye towards it?
Unfortunately, it's still something that's not known very, broadly. Like I go, many times I go to various places and to speak about high sensitivity, and people don't know about it. And if
Yeah.
they do, they don't have the correct knowledge about it. When I ask, okay, what's your definition of someone who's highly sensitive? They say, oh, they cry a lot. And that's not correct. They may cry, they may get emotional, but that's just one component of high sensitivity. There's a lot more to it. And also, they don't understand why they're getting emotional. There's a
Yeah.
reason that highly sensitive people get emotional. So, it's not as widely known as I would hope. Even after, I learned about it in 2019, it's still not widely known. So that's why I think that it's my life purpose to really bring that knowledge to the world and try to educate people as much as possible, not just educating highly sensitive people themselves, but also people who are not highly sensitive, because all of us know at least one person who is highly sensitive, whether it's in our family or at work or amongst our friends. And it really would help us to understand them better and to be
Yeah.
able to therefore have a better relationship with them.
So, as a coach, do you offer a complimentary consultation? Should someone want to work with you, how do they get a hold of you? What does that look like?
Yes, I do. I offer a 15-minute complimentary session. However, whoever is coming from this session today, if you mention Patrick's name, then I will give you a 1 hour complimentary session. And you can find that information on my website, parastooemami.com. And my calendar is there, and you can book a session with me.
And as we mentioned at the beginning, your book is just hot off the press, just coming right off the press as we speak. And you pick it up at Amazon.com. You can purchase it at your website.
Yes.
Um, about speaking, do you want to do more speaking on this? And if so, how do people get a hold of you for that?
Absolutely. I would love to have more speaking engagements because that's how I educate non-highly sensitive people as well. And that really helps people who are not highly sensitive understand highly sensitive people and therefore be able to work with them better if it's a work environment or if it's in a relationship, they can have a better relationship with them. I really think that the knowledge is not just for highly sensitive people, it's for both. Um, and I would love to have speaking engagements, and that can be booked through my website as well. And there's a calendar specific for speaking engagements.
Very good. Last minute strategies, anything that people can do. I mean, but the bubble of protection, set boundaries, stay away from toxic people, clear energy. What are some of the strategies that you coach and teach to help people cope better with regards to their high sensitivity?
Yeah, I really love teaching somatic practices. I actually have a podcast episode specific to somatic practice, but I also have a video on YouTube because people kept asking me to make a video. So I made a video on YouTube that you could look for. It's just under my name, Parastoo Emami. But somatic practices are so important,
And
especially.
what are they? Can you share what somatic practices are?
Yeah, somatic practices basically it's a way of balancing your nervous system. So your vagus nerve is the largest nerve in your body. It runs from the base of your brain and it goes throughout all of your organs, and it really impacts your body and your emotions. And so somatic practices could be breathing techniques. So I really like teaching um, the breathing method where you breathe in for 6 counts and you hold for you breathe in for 4 counts, you hold for 6 counts, and you exhale for 8 counts. And you do that for like 5 minutes. My other somatic practice that I love, I actually like movement practices as a somatic practice. Breathing is good too when you don't have a way, like if you're in a crowd and you can't move your body, and then breathing is my go-to technique. But somatic practice where it involves moving is really good for you. So shaking your body, like animals, like dogs shake their body when they're stressed
Yeah,
out. They're
yeah.
they're doing that throughout the day, right? They're releasing the tension throughout the day. Humans don't do that. But if you shook your body like a dog does for 5 minutes every day, that resets your nervous system and it really helps you deal with all the stressors in your day.
Which would include exercise or yoga or Tai Chi or any of these movement kind of things would
Yeah.
help with this.
Yeah, also going out for a walk in nature, for example. Another thing that I learned lately is earthing, which means just connecting to Mother Nature, which means walking barefoot on sand, on dirt, or on grass, and doing that for 30 minutes. That really helps you get grounded, which really helps with the nervous system as well. And it really helps you if you have any trouble sleeping, that helps a lot. Getting grounded helps a lot with your sleeping.
And what's amazing too, when you put your hands on a tree and you just hold that tree, I mean, people think this sounds silly, but you
Yeah,
put your hands on your tree, I can literally feel the energy from my body
abs-
leaving my body, the stress energy, the anxiety or whatever. And then at the same time, I feel like this warmth, love coming right back in the tree,
absolutely.
replenishing me. So can you speak to that? I mean,
I love that. Yes, I love hugging trees, especially trees that really speak to me. So every person is different. For me, I love eucalyptus trees. And I'm so lucky because in San Francisco, we are surrounded by them. There's like there isn't a place you could go where you don't see a eucalyptus tree. So I go and I hug the eucalyptus tree and I ask it, give me, tell me what you need, tell me what I need to know. Give me some, tell me what my higher self wants me to know. And I actually get messages from the tree. I get the energy, I take the beautiful energy that it has, and it gets rid of my negative energy. So it really neutralizes me and balances me throughout my entire body. And it really gives me this sense of peace and just being one with nature. And
Love it.
and I really actually ask for it to tell me, give me messages. And it does, if you listen, it does.
Yeah.
It takes
Yeah.
practice to do that, but eventually you'll get it.
Well, I think the Native Americans have said that the single worst invention in the history of the entire earth is the creation of a rubber sole. And the rubber
Yeah,
sole on the shoes have removed the feet from the healing energies of earth.
yeah.
And if you think about this, which is amazing, but you notice that cats and dogs and animals that live outside and they sleep on the ground, never get cancer. But the cats and dogs that sleep inside on a couch, on a bed, they struggle with their health in their later years. So I think there's a lot to that, being in connection with the earth and with ground. I love it. Is there anything that we missed? Anything that we didn't cover? Anything else that you want to share about embracing your sensitivity, activating your superpowers, protecting your energy, and thriving in your world?
Just, authenticity. I think that it's so important to be your authentic self and not try to form fit, um, and not try to wonder who you need to be, how you need to act in a certain situation or with certain people, and just be yourself, because that really helps you live in the world that you're supposed to be living with in.
Yeah.
If the people fall off your circle of friends or relationships, let them, because they're not meant for you. And when you're authentic, that is a normal release that happens. You release the people that no longer serve you, and you attract people that do serve you and that are there for helping you live your purpose in life. And without authenticity, you cannot live the purpose that you're meant to live on this earth. So just my I guess the takeaway that I want for the listener is not just embracing your sensitivity, but also just do your best to live an authentic self, the authentic version of yourself.
Well, everybody that's listening out there, do yourself a favor, pick up a copy of her book, Embracing Your Sensitivity. Activate your superpowers, protect your energy, thrive in your world. You can go to parastooemami.com. Again, parastooemami.com to pick up a copy of the book. You can pick it up at amazon.com as well. To schedule your complimentary consultation, if you're looking for a coach, you can text Parastoo at 408-529-4424. 408-529-4424. Let her know that you heard about her on the Patrick and Mary Unstoppable Author Interview Series. And so, as we finish up, this program is named after Mary West, which her middle name we've given her is Mary Unstoppable West. And now, Mary, I am Unstoppable West. So, Parastoo, we want to finish this interview today by asking you, how do you teach your clients and yourself, how do you define the word unstoppable? And what does that mean from your perspective?
Unstoppable to me means being tenacious, just go after what you want in life and keep on persisting. If it doesn't happen the first try, try again. If it doesn't happen second try, try again. Be tenacious in life, be unstoppable. Just go after your dreams, figure out what your purpose is in life and pursue it, because your life will change once you're living your purpose.
Very good. Well, I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You just were amazing.
Thank
So
you.
appreciate this. Are
Thank
you
you so
able to
much.
stick
Thank
around?
you.
Yeah, you able to stick around for a few minutes for Q&A?
Sure, sure, for sure.
Okay, we're going to turn the recording off and then we will open up the